Hey, we're gonna be talking about Dr. Anthony Fauci. They got his ass in Congress right now. They grilling him over what he knew about that COVID pandemic, the origin of that virus, and the policies during that pandemic. Was it to benefit him economically? Was it to benefit an elite group? Was certain people allowed to move under the radar that were possibly a part of letting this virus get out here? You know, the thing is that they knew that they were creating a very similar. They knew they was creating that damn virus. It's a lab created virus, and so it was funded. The NIH funded that research in China, the Wuhan Institute of Virology. They created it, and they create a whole lot of damn viruses. And somehow the virus got out the lab. But they knew that they was creating that virus at Wuhan. See, that show you right there. That show you right there how these elite Neanderthal. You be thinking China and United States and somehow they enemies. But how is that possible that the NIH is funding research in China like that? In China, they actually in China creating this fucking virus or whatever it is. Some people know better than me, but is it a virus? They say it's a virus. And so, and they knew what the hell was going on, and they knew when it leaked. They knew when it leaked. And did they, was it intentional? People had already been talking about this. Well, listen here. It was funded by America. I don't know what you're talking about. Okay, we understand it went across the world. We're talking about where it originated. It ain't got nothing to do with who the fuck shut down. It's about how the fuck it got out. You a fool. You don't even, every time you show yourself to be ignorant as hell. We talking about who knew that the shit got out of the goddamn institute, dumbass. We don't give a fuck about it. We know people shut down. What that got to do with anything? It shouldn't have never got out. And they knew that it had gotten out long before anybody shut down. Fool. You don't even know what you talking about. You're an arrogant, ignorant ass individual. I love when y'all come out here. You jump and don't even, and just went over the facts. He not up there about nobody shutting down, fool. They talking about this man knew who created the virus and how it got out of the damn laboratory. Fool. This is long before anybody shut down. You don't even know what you talking about. Go sit down somewhere. Ignorant ass. You know what I'm saying? Always one of you Neanderthals come in, with them ooga booga. Ooh, you jump right on in. We know. You think you saying something. You act like you saying something that somebody don't know. Man, get out of here, man. Get on the fuck out of here. Yeah. Yeah, we gonna get you on out here. Yeah, so he already knew. And then the crazy ass thing about it, they had stock in the goddamn the jab. They had stock in the jab, They already, some of that shit looked like it was ready to go. Soon as the goddamn pandemic, they almost, and the crazy thing is how they put that jab out there and they hadn't even tested that shit. And what's gonna come out, how many people actually died from taking that damn shot. You know what I'm saying? Let's talk about that. Now, a lot of people don't want to talk about that because that's kind of like, that's on that. But I think it's that time, you know. Not only did you put the damn virus out there and a lot of people got sick and died, but probably more people died from the goddamn, the jab, you know. 50-50 or even more that died from and complications from that goddamn, that's what they say. Now you can sit up there and play stupid all you want to. You can play stupid all you want to. This ain't the first time this shit didn't happen. You know what I'm saying? They experiment on people. Now I'm not saying, and I'm not saying it's not. You see? I'm saying, and it's a possibility. And I'm only saying that because it's still almost like, a very touchy subject, because, to implement somebody in a that's like some global genocidal shit, you know. Yeah, well, they know that. They know that. And the fact that they let the motherfucker, I mean, how do you let that shit get out of there? I don't know. I don't do that. You know what I'm saying? I know it's airborne. You in there fucking, I don't give a fuck how tight you think some shit is, that it could get out. One of the scientists gets sick. One of the scientists gets sick and go out there and infect the motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? You don't know. But the fact that y'all creating this kind of shit in the laboratory, yeah, we already know. I'm speaking around, because it's still very touchy, but we know. We already know with the Tuskegee syphilis shit. And all the shit that they'll just put in the population and just to see what it does, and then they'll come in and try to treat it, with whatever medicines that they got, guinea pig or motherfucker. This is, and when you watch Hitler, you see, the thing is, a lot of people don't know that the blueprint for Hitler and a lot of shit that the Nazis was doing was right here in America. Y'all better listen to what I'm telling y'all. People say, damn, the Nazis and how wicked they was, and they was studying America and a lot of shit that they was doing. I'm just saying what it is. I'm just saying what it is. So Fauci knew, and a whole lot of elites knew. They knew, he might have been keeping it to himself, but he was keeping it in his circle. But they knew that shit had leaked out of Wuhan. They knew where it came from, and the fact that the NIH was funding that research fucked up a whole lot of people, man. I don't give a fuck what research, whatever they was doing, you worse than any possibility. That, cause they saying they researching these viruses to get ahead of what would happen if something like that would happen. And in fact, you became the very engine for it to happen. You see what I'm saying? So, I mean, if you had never created the motherfucking virus, it may never have ever happened. But the fact that y'all created and then was dumb enough to let it leak out, and then you knew it had leaked out, and you didn't do what was necessary to shut that shit down immediately. You shut that shit down immediately. That shit did. It hit everybody across the world. It did. But the key is when did you know And did you do enough to shut that shit down? Could you have avoided, this damn pandemic? That's the question. And he knows something. He knows something. About time they got on his ass. About time they got on his ass. And we're gonna see, because there's some more names gonna come out. It's some other motherfuckers in this elite, and whoever created that damn jab, you know what I'm saying? Was they in on it? Where they already making because they came up and just put it out there without even testing the shit. They just put it on out there. What was the side effects from that jab? Are they talking about that? All right, we're going to see. Anyway, family, get over to Patreon, click that link. Right down there, over 600 exclusive live stream. Also, generalseti, Etsy, One Stop, KingSeti.com. I'm going to see y'all in a minute. Make sure you like the video, give it a thumbs up, and share it with your family and friends. Boom, Black Pop.